The history of hovercraft across the Channel is a long and storied one. First invented by a man called Christopher Cockerell in 1953, the idea took another 3 years before it was even heard at government. Even then, the Admiralty initially rejected the idea, and it was placed on the secret list while the Ministry of Supply could evaluate its usefulness. After a long and painful 18 months on the list, the secret was let slip and the list was rescinded. A contract was finally awarded to Saunders Roe in 1957, and development and testing on full-size models was finally able to be started in earnest. A final report was produced in 1958 and a manned model was able to begin being constructed. Eventually, in 1959, after a year of work and construction, an SRN-1 crossed the Channel from England to France and proved the viability of this method of transport. The crossing took place exactly 50 years after the first solo flight over the Channel, and passenger carrying services first began in 1962, then made their way to the Channel in 1966. By 1968, car carrying service had begun. This car carrying service was operated with behemoth SRN-4s, more affectionately known as the Mountbatten class. These craft began operating from Pegwell Bay near Ramsgate and Dover Eastern Docks. Once 1976 rolled around, some of the SRN-4s were stretched to Mark III variants, capable of carrying up to 60 cars and up to 418 passengers. As a result, the original Dover Eastern Hoverport could no longer cope, and it was soon shut in favour of the Western Docks Hoverport. This eventually also took the traffic from the Pegwell Bay site after the controlling Hoverloyd and Seaspeed merged. The Pegwell Bay site was still retained as a depot for any work on the craft. Throughout the 80s, the hovercraft service remained strong and was the quickest way to cross from England to France with your vehicle in tow. The crossing generally took 30 minutes, but the fastest was an impressive time of 22 minutes, set in 1993. Unfortunately, by the 90s, with the fuel crisis, disappearance of duty-free, and the impending opening of the Channel Tunnel, it was announced that the hovercraft service would be replaced by catamarans. They ran in tandem with each other from 1998, with the hovercraft being retired in 2000, and the catamaran service soon after in 2005. With that, the history of cross-channel hovercraft had ended, and the Channel Tunnel took over as the fastest way to get across to France.